Jersey, Sussex. Winter storm watch remains in effect from late Friday night through Sunday morning. Hazard types: heavy snow. Snow accumulations, 3 to 8 inches possible. Timing: snow is expected to begin early Saturday morning and then taper off Saturday night. There is the potential that heavier snow moves this far north, but it is still uncertain. Impacts: some blowing and drifting snow may occur as winds increase. Roads will become snow-covered and hazardous on Saturday. Winds, northeast 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Temperatures in the lower 20s. For the following areas: in New Jersey, Hudson, Western Essex, Eastern Essex, Western Union and Eastern Union, and the following areas: in New York, Manhattan, Bronx, Staten Island, Brooklyn, Northwest Suffolk, Southwest Suffolk, Northern Queens, Northern Nassau, Southern Queens, Southern Nassau, Northeast Suffolk and Southeast Suffolk. Blizzard watch remains in effect from Saturday morning through Sunday afternoon. Locations: the 5 boroughs of New York City, coastal portions of Northeast New Jersey, and Long Island. Hazard types: heavy snow along with strong and potentially damaging winds. Accumulations: snow accumulation of 6 to 10 inches. Winds, northeast 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts up to 50 miles per hour. Isolated gusts to 60 miles per hour are possible near the immediate coast. Temperatures in the upper 20s. Visibilities: 1/4 mile or less at times. Timing: Saturday morning through Sunday afternoon. Impacts: extremely dangerous travel due to heavy snowfall and strong winds with whiteout conditions likely. Secondary and tertiary roads may become impassable. Strong winds may down power lines and tree limbs. For the following areas: in New Jersey, Somerset, Middlesex and Western Monmouth. Blizzard watch remains in effect from late Friday night through Sunday morning. Locations: central New Jersey. Hazard types: potential for blizzard conditions with heavy snow, strong winds and blowing snow. Snow accumulations, 9 to 14 inches possible. Timing: snow is expected to overspread the area from south to north Friday evening, primarily after the evening commute. It can be heavy at times, before tapering off into Sunday morning. The strongest winds and greatest potential for blizzard conditions will be on Saturday. Winds, northeast 20 to 30 miles per hour with frequent gusts up to 40 miles per hour. Visibilities: 1/4 mile or less at times. Temperatures in the mid to upper 20s. Impacts: the combination of heavy snowfall and strong winds could produce whiteout conditions and extremely dangerous travel. The snow is expected to be heavy and wet. Shoveling may be problematic for those with physical ailments. Snow may cling to wires and trees, which could cause numerous power outages. Roads will become impassable due to increasing snow accumulation during the event. For the following areas: in New Jersey, Hudson, Eastern Essex and Eastern Union, and the following areas: in New York, Manhattan, Staten Island, Brooklyn, Southwest Suffolk, Southern Queens and Southern Nassau. Coastal flood watch in effect Saturday evening. The National Weather Service in Upton has issued a coastal flood watch, which is in effect Saturday evening. Widespread minor coastal flooding is also forecast during this Saturday morning high tide cycle. Tidal departures, 3 to 4 feet above normal astronomical tides. Beach erosion, large breaking waves on the shore of Long Island may result in erosion of dunes and localized overwash for the barrier beaches from Fire Island and points west. Timing: during this Saturday evening high tide cycle. Impacts: moderate to localized major coastal flooding. Widespread flooding of vulnerable shore roads and or basements. Lives may be at risk for people who put themselves in harm's/south way. Isolated structural damage may be observed. A coastal flood warning may be needed. A coastal flood watch means that conditions favorable for flooding are expected to develop. Coastal residents should be alert for later statements or warnings and take action to protect property. For the following areas: in Connecticut, southern Fairfield and southern New Haven, and the following areas: in New York, southern Westchester, Bronx, northwest Suffolk, northern Queens and northern Nassau. Coastal flood watch in effect from Saturday evening through late Saturday night. The National Weather Service in Upton has issued a coastal flood watch, which is in effect from Saturday evening through late Saturday night. Widespread minor coastal flooding is also forecast during this Saturday morning high tide cycle. Locations: coastal locations adjacent to western and central Long Island Sound. Tidal departures: 3 to 4 feet above normal astronomical tides. Timing: during the Saturday night high tide cycle. Impacts: moderate coastal flooding. Widespread flooding of vulnerable shore roads and/or basements. Lives may be at risk for people who put themselves in harm's/south way. Isolated structural damage may be observed. A coastal flood warning may be needed. A coastal flood watch means that conditions favorable for flooding are expected to develop. Coastal residents should be alert for later statements or warnings and take action to protect property. For the following areas in New Jersey, Middlesex, Western Monmouth and Eastern Monmouth. Coastal flood watch in effect from late Friday night through Sunday morning. The National Weather Service in Mount Holly has issued a coastal flood watch, which is in effect from late Friday night through Sunday morning. Locations: the New Jersey counties of Middlesex and Monmouth. Coastal flooding: moderate coastal flooding is possible. The coastal flooding could last for 3 consecutive high tide cycles as water is pushed up against the coast and into the Raritan Bay, back bays and estuaries. Timing: high tide near Sandy Hook occurs between 6:45 a.m. and 7:45 a.m. Saturday morning, between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Saturday evening, and between 7:15 a.m. and 8:15 a.m. Sunday morning. High tide on Raritan Bay and the back bays occurs later than the high tide along the ocean front. Wave heights on the nearshore waters off New Jersey are forecast to build to 15 to 20 feet over the weekend. Wave heights on Raritan Bay may build to 3 to 6 feet. Impacts: numerous roadways may flood, and minor to moderate property damage is possible. The tides and wave action could result in significant beach erosion. A coastal flood watch means that conditions are favorable for the development of moderate or major tidal flooding. Be prepared to begin taking appropriate action to protect life and property. Follow the recommendations of local emergency management officials. Be sure to check the latest forecast from time to time in case a warning is issued or any new information becomes available. For a list of the impact of different tide heights in your county, please visit www.weather.gov/fi/tides, all in lowercase. Location: time of predicted water level high tide Sandy Hook, New Jersey, 7 a.m. Saturday near 7.0 feet. Mean lower low water Sandy Hook Bay, 7:28 p.m. Saturday, 7.5 to 8.0 feet. Mean lower low water 7:44 a.m. Sunday, 7.5 to 8.0 feet. Mean lower low water high tide on Raritan Bay and on the back bays occurs later than the high tide on the ocean front. Here is the latest weather map discussion. Weak high pressure will move